Hey guys, it's Sean from Indonesia. This is a Philodendron Billietiae variegated that we propagated about a year ago. The video is going to be linked up above, so click on that if you want to see the past video, or it's going to be in the video description down below. So this is from the mother plant. I did manage to get a few plants out of the propagation that we did before. And in today's episode, I'm going to be separating this. So basically, from the mother plant, a lot of sprouts has appeared. And as you can see, I put it in a very, very bright spot up on the balcony, so it's given me like all variegated leaves. Sometimes this is what happens when you give them too much light. If you look at the growth down below, it's balanced green variegation, so I'm a little bit concerned, and I also see a little bit of rotting on the leaf here, so there might be a little bit of root rot, but we will figure out when we unpot this, and I will slowly do a surgical removal because there are a few plants in here. And then in the end of the episode, I'll show you how many plants I got because I'm going to be rehabilitating these guys over the next few months. So yeah, and this same technique applies for nearly all philodendrons. So if you propagate your philodendrons this way and you end up having like a clump like this, or if you bought a tissue culture plants, sometimes they come in a clump like this with multiple plants living in one single vine. Yeah, this is how you separate them. All right, moment of truth. Honestly, I've not really checked out the inside. Oh, it's actually quite dry inside. I haven't really peeked inside to see what it looks like. The roots look fine. I don't see any signs of root rot. So maybe this is just like maybe burn or something, because right now we're getting a lot of light in this back area due to a shift in the sun's position. So yeah, let me figure out how many plants I can get out of this. And this is still a pretty valuable plant now. Now I'm gonna take my time to remove as much moss as I can. Aha, I spoke too early. There's a bit of rot here. This is what root rot looks like when the root looks a bit mushy like this. But I do see a lot of healthy roots, so we really have to like be surgical with this, remove all the rotten parts. Like this is also an example of a root. It just came right off. So let me treat this. Here the problem is probably worse than I thought. There are a lot of these root rot inside in the middle of the root ball here, but the roots outside on the outer part is fine. Now I think this might be turning into a root rot video because I want to quickly discuss root rot. What causes root rot? A few possibilities. First of all, root rot is caused by disease, fungus, bacteria. If you grow them in a very sterile environment, chances are it won't really rot that easily. But it's also a combination of having the plant be sitting in too much water for too long, or maybe it's just given too little light, too little airflow. So the plant is already a bit sick and the media is not drying fast enough. So the plant is not absorbing all that excess water. And when you have water pooling inside of a pot in the potting media, what happens is that there's a lot of chance for pathogens to spread and grow. So yeah, there's no one simple reason for root rot. There's usually a multitude of reasons, but the most common cause is soil that is too organic, soil that is overwatered, and what else? Maybe a stressed out plant will also cause root rot because the plant is not efficiently photosynthesizing, it is not fighting off the infection. Because keep in mind, all living things have some kind of, I don't want to say immune system. I mean, plants have some defense because they're not dumb. They've evolved over the billions of years. So I mentioned immune system one time in an old video, and someone commented snarkily that plants don't have immune system. And yes, that person is correct. I mean, immune system is defined very differently for human beings and other like mammals or other animals. But plants, they have a kind of defense. So healthy plants will have better defense against infection, and sick plants or plants that you move around quite a bit that are a little bit stressed out, or if you've just bought them and they were just shipped out, they are very susceptible to disease and also root rot. So there you go. Maybe that's not a simple way of answering what a root rot is, but to prevent it, one, good care. And then do not overwater the plant. Do not give it too big of a pot where water can pool for too long. Or if you spray them down with like neem oil and fungicide, that will really cut down the incidence of rot quite a bit because neem oil is very good with antibacterial and antifungal properties. So yeah, I'm taking out all these rotted roots. Yeah, there's quite a lot actually down the middle here. I'm slightly worried, but we're going to be separating this into many plants anyway, so it will look completely different by the time we're done. But I wanted to quickly show you, there's a pile here that I did. These are the rotten roots. Alright, so I've done removing most of the moss, and as you can see here, there are a few plants living in this. And I want to see what's the best way to sever it from each other. I counted 3, but we may get lucky and find more. Also, I dropped a leaf, I'm sorry. It happens. When you work with this, it's just something that is inevitable. I'm thinking if I should just pluck this off gently. And I know you guys are probably screaming now. Don't pluck it off gently. Oh, hang on, I heard something break. What did I break? What did I break? I'm a little bit nervous now. Yeah, another leaf. Yeah, sorry. I'm trying to be careful, but this is so delicate. Yeah, I think I'm gonna break it off. Yeah, this is going to come off, I think. Nice, okay. So let me study you. Let me study. This is looking healthy and fresh. Look at that. It's quite beautiful, isn't it? It's quite a good size as well. Happy with this. And I'm gonna try to take as much of the old media as I can because I think I want to put this in my aeroid potting mix next. And I don't want all this moss that's sitting around the roots to be soaking too much water in the future. So I'm gonna take out as much as I can without doing some real damage. And this is like an old aeroid potting media that was probably from the mother plant. It's probably very old media, and we want to remove that. But you don't want to remove too much. You don't want to be harsh on the roots. This is already very stressful for them. So you don't want to try to like pick out all these little fibers off the roots. Whatever's stuck to the roots, you leave them be. That's yeah, that's one. Moving on. Next, let me first untangle the leaves. Sometimes the leaves are tangled into each other. I've been meaning to do this for a very long time. Never got around to do this. Yeah, I think for this one we lost quite a bit of roots, actually. I think what's rotted off was the original stump that probably rotted off, and these are the offsets that came from the stump. And then when you give them time, they all put out all these roots on their own. All right. That is done. This is looking okay. Yeah, it looks like this one will pull through. This is going to be okay. I'm gonna take out this one. Ooh, it came off right off anyways. Yeah, I found it. The source of the rot here. This is the old trunk from the mother, I think. And it's completely rotten off. So hopefully this will pull through, this baby. This is one plant. I thought I might be able to get 2 plants out of this, but this is only one. But it is a big one. This is beautiful, actually. Gorgeous, man. And it's got a decent amount of roots here. So we lost a few leaves here, but that's okay. And we've got these 3 cuttings that I've separated. And then I'm going to be dunking them in a fungicide and an antibacterial solution. I've never done this before, but it makes a lot of sense to do it. And I know that people do it for tissue culture plants to rehab them. So let me show you how. So I've got a bowl of water, and this is diethane. It's actually a fungicide. Don't ask me for measurements because I always eyeball everything. I've never measured anything, but it's like, I use this to spray down the leaves and the media of my plants periodically. It's worked really well for me. This, I'm gonna show the product on the screen, but this is actually also a fungicide and also has antibacterial properties. We use them here locally, but I don't know if it's available in other countries, but I'm just gonna eyeball it again. Always dilute things, and you should probably wear gloves, but you know what? We are kind of on a roll, so do not try this at home. Wear a pair of gloves. But yeah, I don't think this is harmful for us, but comment down below if you know for a fact that this might be harmful. So we have this solution here. And by the way, when we ship out plants here from Indonesia, when we export plants, we gotta dunk them in this solution. So yeah, so this has to go in there. I might actually be able to use this for something else later. Yeah, and then that should take care of any, what do you call it? Any kind of pathogen that it might be around the roots. So one more. Give them like a nice bath. When you see like in my nursery tour videos that all these leaves have these white spots on the leaves, whether I was in Thailand or in Indonesia, it's this fungicide that is causing those white specks. And one more thing about fungicide, there are good fungus and there are bad fungus. But I believe fungicide, they indiscriminately kill all types. Oh, I'm gonna take this off because it's like dangling there. Yeah, it kills them indiscriminately. So not something that I would use very often, but in this case where it's got root rot and also it's an expensive plant, yeah, I gotta be a bit more mindful. Let's pot these up. All right, here comes the fun part, my favorite part. I've actually not been doing a lot of propagation, not been doing a lot of repotting and such, but I feel so good. So this is the smallest one. I'm gonna give it a tiny little pot here. For a recipe of my aroid potting mix, I'm gonna link a video up above. So you can make it on your own or something similar. You don't have to make it exactly the same ratio, but I explain the reasoning behind the ingredients. So find something in your area that is available to you, but you want it to be chunky, you want it to dry out fast, and what do you call this? You don't want too much organic material in there, so it's not the same kind of soil that you use in your landscaping and your gardening or your vegetable and fruit harvesting, because those are a bit too dense. So yeah, this is one. Carbofuran, not proud of it, but this is a pesticide that slowly releases to the plant, and it's quite toxic, so you don't handle this with your hands. I always use the cap for it. And then slow release fertilizer. I use Osmocote brand, but any other brand works just as well. So you want to just use very little. You don't want to overuse your fertilizer, it could burn the plant. And I might actually leave this alone. I'm not going to water this because the roots are still a bit wet from this. So yeah, it's going to have enough moisture to sustain it overnight. It's the evening time. So yeah, if this was like in the morning, I would probably like water it a bit just to make sure it doesn't dry like completely for too long, because it's been super hot in Jakarta. So and if you ask me, can we reuse these media? I would say in this case no, because it's got root rot before. So I would not reuse that. But sometimes when I'm propagating plants and the plant was healthy and I moved it to a pot, I would reuse the sphagnum moss. I'm a big fan of recycling, of being sustainable, because no matter what potting media we use, it has an environmental cost to it. So just be mindful of that. This one, I'm giving it a clear pot because I'm an overwaterer, so I can actually check the moisture before I water it. I can water more confidently. And there's a baby leaf in there, but it might be buried. I'm sorry for the baby leaf, but yeah. It's gotta go under because I want as much of the aerial roots to be in contact with the potting media so that they can turn into healthy roots, so then this can turn into a large plant, because the Billietiae, they can become large. This is still a baby plant. Oh, hang on. One thing that I forgot. I do want this to go as deep as possible. As deep as possible. And then as this plant grows upwards, I mean this plant will grow more nodes, I want to be able to fill it with media and have it root more, because I don't want the plant to be too high up and have all these media that's empty that's sitting in the bottom, because that is also one way that the plant can get overwatered and a lot of bacteria and fungus and stuff can grow inside the media. So we want to use as little media as possible, and we want as much contact with the aerial roots as possible. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but trust me on that. So yeah, for this, I will not fill it all the way to the very top with media, but at some point this plant will overgrow the level of soil or the level of potting mix that I give it. And that's when I would have to add more potting media and then eventually give it a pot. And I also start putting this into like a bright indirect light situation, because I think it was a bit too bright before. That's why it's producing all these very, very variegated leaves, which we don't want. We want them to be kind of balanced. And these guys are not very prone to pests, so I'm only using very little pest control. 3 Philodendron Billietiae variegated coming right up. So we've got a small, a medium, and a large. And I'll give you guys a few months update. I don't know how many months it would take, but this is what everyone looks like now. Welcome to a 4.5 months of update. So they've been living on the shelf. It's getting filtered light because it's under this shelf, but it's also pretty bright. And I can see immediately that some of these are doing quite okay. This one looks fine, and this other one looks all right. We're going to get a closer look, by the way, when we bring it to the table. This one looks fine, but one of them, this one, is very suspicious. It didn't seem to grow much, and if I'm not wrong, this media is forever wet every time I see it. And yeah, let's take a look at the roots. I suspect that it may have a bit of root rot at some point. Keep in mind, I've been traveling so much in the last few months. I haven't been keeping an eye out for this, but I'm home now for a while, so hopefully I can spend more time with them. Okay, so for this one here, I'm gonna take it out of this pot. No good. Ooh, I do see some root rot here. We're gonna get a closer look, but let me see the other ones here. Moment of truth, moment of truth. I mean, the fact that they haven't really grown much in the last 4.5 months is a bit telling. They look only slightly bigger, but a healthy plant would grow vigorously. This is actually doing okay. Yeah, this is what healthy roots look like. Oh gosh, I wonder if this is overwatered. Again, the bottom part of it is a little bit dark, so I suspect that this might be getting a bit too much water, or maybe we didn't do such a good job with disinfecting it previously, but it's still alive, it's still salvageable. This one last plant is... This one actually looks okay. It's got some root rot as well. Let's take a closer look. All right, so this is that first one that we saw. And as you can see, these are root rot. So what I'm gonna do with all this rot is I'm just gonna cut it off, take it off, and treat it the same way as before. There are some healthy roots here. So this is still very much alive, but I'm so sorry I couldn't show you a final and healthy product, but this is just what happens. So again, I think this is a little bit too overwatered because that area gets rained on when it gets rained on, and also maybe I need to inform the girls. I'm not so good with communicating with the girls to let them know what to do with each specific plants, but they also have like a million tasks to do. They're cleaning the house, the car, and they're also taking care of my other businesses. So this is just what happens. And this is the second one that we unpotted. It looks healthy. But still, I might want to back off with watering just in case for this one. And the last one here, as you can see, it's put out some healthy roots, but the bottom part here is very much mush. So let me take care of this, but I think this will pull through okay. It's a good thing that we caught them in the nick of time. The fact that we're doing this now, they should be doing okay. They just need some time to recover. So here's all the roots that we lost. My gosh, this really set us back, and this feels like a deja vu, but we're doing this again. We're going to do the fungicide dip to make sure that any infection is gone. And this time I think I'm going to just use moss, because for moss it is much easier to control the moisture, and it's also a much more sterile medium. All right, so they have been moved to moss, and I didn't water this because their roots were still wet with the fungicide. I should have probably used moss the first time around. One, for better moisture control, but also because it was battling a bit of root rot before, so moss might have been the better medium in the beginning, but also that area, that placement was a little bit too wet for them. So I'm placing them here now. This is completely indoors, and it is cloudy out today, but normally when it's like super bright, this will get very nice indirect light coming into contact with the leaves. So I'm gonna give it a few more months, and also keep in mind I keep these moss very fluffy when I potted this up. So when we water this, we gotta water it with like a squeegee bottle, like just squeeze a little bit of water gently over it, because we don't want this to get compacted. And for Billietiae, especially the variegated ones, it is much better to keep them on the dry side. They can actually tolerate a bit of drought rather than having them sit in water and rot. All right, guys, it's actually a few months later, and I mean, the cuttings are doing well, it's rooted really well, but they're putting out leaf after leaf of just fully variegated leaves. And I don't know if there's any chlorophyll in there. There might be, because it is actually not fully white. And the plant, actually, the back here is very, very sexy in my opinion, but it is no way for this plant to live. So that being said, I might actually resort to I'm gonna cut off the entire thing. I'm gonna cut this off. I mean, I might propagate it. I don't know why I would. Hang on, let me wiggle this free. Let me wiggle you free. And it's slow growing, maybe because it really doesn't have any chlorophyll. So I might just prop this into its own plant, which is actually quite cute if you look at it. This is actually very, very beautiful. This one also had a like a partially variegated leaf down below. So I'm really going to cut this really all the way back. Take this off. And I'm not really even gonna bother with this. It is so weak. It is not doing well. So I'm just gonna leave this one leaf here. I might even put this in like a cup situation so it's got like full humidity on. And I think I might have to fertilize this a bit too. It looks like it may need some fertilizing. And then this one as well. This one, strangely, the latest leaf seems to be all green, if I'm not wrong. But I'm gonna cut it back, put it way back to maybe about here. I know there's many nodes actually down below because I grew this for quite a long time. So I'm gonna fertilize these and give this time, and I think at least one of them is gonna give me some nice variegation, especially this one plant here. All right, welcome to a 5 months update, and this is everyone. Let's go with the bad news first. This one here has put out only like variegated leaves and green leaves, so this is not giving me any variegation. And then let's go to the second worst news. So this one here has given me a new vine that's appeared here, and this one leaf, unfortunately, I don't know what happened to it. I was away. This one broke. But as you can see, the leaf that would have sprouted would be beautifully variegated. Look at how nice the variegation is. So this one new vine, I have to count on it to give me some wonderful new leaves. I have a really, really good feeling about it. I think it also put out a secondary vine over here. And I want to take a peek, but this is not unrolling very well, this leaf. So let me try to see if I can open it up for you. Okay. From what I see, this is an all green leaf. This is no good. So one of the vines, this one here, should give me a perfectly variegated plant. Finally, we've got a bit of a good news. This one, it's lost most of its leaves, but look at that. All the baby leaves are variegated. So I guess I'll be enjoying at least one variegated Billietiae from now on. And after battling one whole year, actually this is a little bit over a year, of root rot, reversion, and yeah, now I have this. So I guess that concludes our video. If you ever are combating any kind of issues with your plants, try to save them. If you have problems with variegation, cut them back. And sometimes you'll just be rewarded with something beautiful like this. All right, thank you so much for watching this. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.